What's up, Metal Summoners? As always, it is so great to see you guys. Thank you for rocking out, showing so much love and support to the show, even more love and support to the bands and the artists that we have on the show. As always, this is your Island of Misfit Toys. We've got Angel, we've got myself, and we are all ready to kick off your weekend in the middle of the week as we bring back some TMS alumni. We've got Chris, who's a multi-time TMS alumni. We've got Jeff, who's been on with us before, and it is time to talk a little bit about some vintage rock and roll because the band is back together. We've got music to talk about and some stuff to figure out and hear about. Babylon Shakes is live with us right now. Of course, man, we also got a lot of love that we got to give out to our good friend Gary as well. But we're going to jump right into it. Sorry to keep you on the delay there, Metal Summoner. So let's have a little fun. First and foremost, Chris, Morty, thank you so much for a little bit of your time. Welcome back to the Metal Summit. And it's been a little while for some Babylon Shakes in our lives.
Mm-hmm. It has. Thanks for having us, man. Yeah.
Thanks for having us, Chris. Appreciate it, man. Yeah, we'll have to apologize for us getting on late because we were just talking shop because we all love music so much and talking about it and whether it's us or anything else, it's just hard rock and metal and it's our family, it's our passion.
No, absolutely. Yeah, we got into that small talk about the upcoming M3 festival, and it's very easy to get lost in the conversation when it comes to that. But of course, friends, talk a little bit about Babylon Shake. So it had been a little bit of a hiatus. There were some solo projects kind of going on in the meantime and different like musical like outlets and creativity that was like, coming in and out of your guys' system. But talk a little bit about the band coming back together and what you guys have been going on since.
Yeah, so we stayed in contact with each other, but we kind of I guess after like Masquerade, we kind of took a bit of a break. We went on hiatus. I had Chrysanthemum Ballroom going at that time, and I spent about almost 2 years kind of doing that. And then I started writing some more like heavier songs in the past like year and a half or so, and kept passing demos back to these guys, and they were really interested. They were digging it. So yeah, we got back together in like July of last year, July or August.
August, yeah, early August is when we started rehearsing again, which was short-lived because we've been spending most of the time recording. We haven't really rehearsed yet.
We left we had like 2 rehearsals and went right into recording mode.
Yep.
And now we're getting ready to really switch gears again.
I don't know. There's kind of a misconception though. We didn't really, you could say a hiatus, but it wasn't anything musical at all. It was Chris had a lot of stuff that I think he needed to do with Chrysanthemum Ballroom, and I thought it was really great stuff. The 3 of us collectively really do like a wide range of rock, whether it be classic rock, what's considered classic rock, Stonesy, Blackberry Smoke meets like Black Crowes kind of stuff, but then we also like obviously Sunset Strip sleaze metal. That's sort of our forte, and that's kind of that's the tip of the spear. But also, believe it or not, we really like really, I guess you consider it the second wave of British rock or the British invasion, but it really has to do with sort of that synthesized sound, and it really is sort of the early roots of what's considered goth music, whether it was like the Smiths, the Cure, Lords of the New Church, Sisters of Mercy, Cult, early Cult, the Death Cult. We love that stuff too. And when he was doing it, we were all starting. We were going to do that project collectively as a 3Bs, and I was using an electronic kit, and we were kind of doing that. But I think it was probably a combination of it just didn't work. And I think Chris just needed to kind of do it himself. But anyway, point being is we were all really interested. It wasn't because of the music at all. So.
Oh no, absolutely. I loved Chrysanthemum Ballroom. I told you that on the show.
Yeah.
That stuff's super up my alley.
Yeah.
Awesome. I love my goth and roll, dude. So I was definitely all for that project. But that was super cool though to hear about it, like at the time kind of just being another kind of look of the band, almost kind of like what is it, the Chris Gaines version of Babylon Shakes.
Oh yeah, Garth Brooks did that. Yeah,
When it's not Garth Brooks.
yeah.
But no, that was super duper cool for sure. But
Mhm.
anyway, yeah, when it comes to Babylon, and the music that you guys are working on, like, and it, when we were talking a little bit off the air, it sounded a bit, Morty, you were saying that you really seem to be churning out some tunes, because it's that riding the bike, you guys know each other so well, your style and your musical like writings and things like that, new fresh music. I really don't think that would be overly a challenge for you guys, especially after all the years of Babylon Shakes being a band. But it really seems like you guys have been churning them out.
Oh, we totally have. Yeah, gosh, I think when we right when we got back together, I think I had, I don't know, 5 or 6
At least.
demos of
At
songs,
least, yeah.
and
We
once
already, yeah.
yeah, once we
We hit
get
the ground
together,
running.
the fire just like
Oh, we hit the ground running big time. Like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
let's do this. And then, so what the process was, Chris, like when we started, like I said, we started in late August, and we just started doing 2-3 tracks a month, and then just every month, and then here we are. That's 12.
Mhm.
So there's 12 in the can, as it were, and we'll probably pick the best 9 or 10 of those. 45 minutes is usually enough for at one sitting, and then we'll probably use the extra. We've got more material than we've got other stuff we still haven't recorded yet for a whole nother album. So
Nice.
that Chris has so much. He has so much like unrecorded material that I'd love to. I just want to make records.
Yeah.
We've just been total record mode, but we're ready to get back out and play live. I mean, you're not a rock and roll band until you're, getting sweaty and dirty and,
It's Black Les Paul season.
yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely. When it comes to Babylon Shakes playing live, especially this time around, anybody who's been familiar with the band over the long run also knows that at one point you guys were a 4-piece for a little while. For anybody who's curious about, what the upcoming live shows that Babylon Shakes is going to have. Are you guys back to being a 3-piece? Is there consideration about a 4-piece for like sound, filler, or like not filler in the bad way, but aggression and a little more bang when it comes to a live show?
Mm-hmm.
What can you tell us about like the lineup of the band and what the fans can expect?
I would say, yeah, I'll just I'll say you're probably going to see us next as a 4-piece.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, and it really does. I think it's really going to fill out the sound. It's going to allow. Gary's a killer guitar player in his own right, so it's going to let me kind of concentrate more on rhythm and singing, and let him, play some more leads. And
Nice.
we'll probably be an announcement probably sooner rather than later. But yeah, I would. Yeah, we're going to be a 4-piece.
Nice, and that'll be with Gary on guitar, because I remember even then hearing that he was just excited for that because he's such an amazing bass player. But I was aware that like guitar was like his passion, like and like his happy place, where he could really kind of cut loose in that way. So that's really, really cool.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Totally. I think he's been working on solos since we've started recording, and he'll send me snippets of things he's done, all hours of the night. And yeah, he's really excited, and we're all excited for it too.
Gary's co-producer. He's the head engineer.
Mm-hmm.
He's the captain. He mics the drums. He tunes the drums. He's an incredibly talented, guy that really, he does a lot of stuff that's not always fun from that standpoint, but yeah, he's invaluable. And then, it's good because it's his studio, so he has time to listen to what we've recorded, and then he'll come back and he'll just put something slamming down. He'll send it to us, and we're like, yeah. So that formula works real well for us. I come in obviously and I do the drum tracks, and then sometime in the morning, usually I do them in the morning, and then Chris gets pretty inspired and he's like, oh yeah, I want to do the rhythm tracks for that, or the singing or whatever. So we just spend all day doing it. Just what we've been doing like for the last 6 months now. It's like, yeah, we're just we're ready to get out and ready for everybody to hear these songs, because this record is it's probably the heaviest that we've done.
Nice.
It's definitely it's Exile, but it's the first album, but it's even more raunchier, and I think it's even more sleazier.
Nice.
So,
It's like if Exile was the party, this is the after party.
Oh, okay.
It's a little
Nice.
it's a little darker, but it's still really, really sleazy.
yeah, we kind of wanted it to be sort of a really a mix between Cocked and Loaded and probably, I don't know, Too Fast for Love.
All right.
Yeah.
It definitely has sort of those elements in it where it's raunchy and raw, and it's got obnoxious cowbell, and it's got some just a little faster Pussycat in there too.
Nice.
So yeah, it's we wanted it to kind of be a really, so where I should put this, sort of a salute to the spirit of that era of music.
Yeah.
It's kind of going back to our roots and like what we really got into this in the first place. Like Looks to Kill. When I saw that video, I was like, drums, what is that guy doing? I want to do that.
Yeah.
It's, and of course, LA Guns is huge, and Faster Pussycat is huge for us. So, and Hanoi Rocks, of course, but list goes on and on, but it's definitely in that vein. Like so.
Nice. This is the after party. This is the 11 p.m. 21 and over adults only party.
Absolutely. Gotta have a stamp on your hand. No entry.
Exactly. No X's on these hands.
Right.
It is just.
When you were the headliner was the good thing. It was the midnight show.
Yeah.
Nice. So Angel, I'm gonna kick it up to you, brother. So I got one more thing I want to ask the guys in this segment, and then why don't you just pick it up right after their answers, my friend? So you guys, you were talking about, really being excited about getting out there to play this music live. When it comes to the album's completion, where's a little bit of your thought process? Of course, based on what you're allowed to announce, are you looking to really kind of test the waters with the new music first and foremost and really get a good grind on that and maybe see a little bit where songs fit next to each other before putting out the actual album in full? Or is there a little bit of, well, we're going to give you, as the old saying goes, just the tip, and then the album will come out?
I'll let Chris answer that, but for me, short answer, nope. We're just gonna put it out there. We know what we're doing. This is what you see is what you get. I don't really think we're reinventing the wheel here, but it's definitely you're gonna be like, wow, like I don't know, they still had it in them. Like we're back. We're back. When you listen to this, like, oh yeah, you remembered why you bought the first one.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I think it's so much in the same vein and the same themes, just good party anthemic songs and pure sleaze. I think we're just, we're right back in the wheelhouse that we were in 2018. So we're confident enough we can just go ahead and, I think
black. It's a black theme. It's a shroud. It's like the first record with just a veil. It's more black. It's a little more chrysanthemum in there. It's got a little bit of that, but it's riffs. It's riff heavy, drum heavy. I mean, drums are. I took a lot off of Steve Riley. It was kind of again circling back to my tribute. A huge Steve Riley fan, and especially with Wasp, I loved what he did with the first album or second album I think he played on, but
the Last Command.
Yeah, that one and. But the first two, well, he didn't play on the first one, played on Cocked and Loaded. And I really liked the drums, and I liked Hollywood Vampires. I liked the drums on that. So, again, I was a huge fan of his, so I kind of played it in that vein. So, but the riffs, I mean, they're just you'll hear it. You'll be like, yeah, there it is.
Yeah, for sure. Yep. Shout out to the late Stephen Riley. We miss you, brother.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Angel.
I liked the last two records he did with Kurt and the other and Kelly Nichols and I
Oh
like
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. Renegade and
the Dark Horse, yeah.
Dark Horse. Yeah. With Scotty
Yeah.
Griffin.
Yeah,
It's
the
Scott-
Scotty Griffin, yep. It's definitely for me it's influenced a little bit of that too in there for sure.
Oh, man. I love it when the word sleazy comes up. That's what got me excited about the new LA Guns album.
Oh yeah, yeah, me too.
Yeah, 3.
Yeah.
So is there like a timeline when can fans expect to hear the new single or the album release?
We're kind of on a we're really winding down. We're kind of out into the like mixing and mastering. I think there's just a few minor little overdub things we're working on. We're still shooting for, I don't want to give a specific even a month, but I would just say maybe still late spring, probably after M3, maybe end of May, something like that. But we're definitely going to have another single out. I don't know. I'd say maybe in another month. Possibly.
It's a good problem to have for us because, like I said, the songs are there. We just need to finish them up, like the mastering part of it and cleaning up maybe a few overdubs. It's minor stuff. So I would think I really can't give you a time, but it's going to be soon. It's going to be soon. We're real close. We just our mixing and mastering software just got an upgrade. And actually, our server that we have this stuff on, studios are digital now, and our studio's about to die. So once we get that, that's kind of the holdup. Really, it's not really because of production or any of that other normal stuff you run into. It's just we just have to get the mastering done. But yeah, I'm hoping we can get another single out soon for sure. Because like I said, I just can't wait for people to hear it for sure.
Oh yeah.
And what can fans expect as far as merch, which Jay and I
Man.
I still need to raid Chris's leftover Chrysanthemum Ballroom shirts.
Oh, I got you. I got you.
I was like,
I haven't even gotten one. You can expect it to be dark and sleazy. Kind of simple, dark, and sleazy is the best way I could explain that, describe it. I think what Chris did, if you look on my backsplash on my Facebook page, it's got the rated R symbol, the logo, and I thought that was really, really smart. I wish I could take credit for that. But like so many other ideas, Chris just was like, I wish I'd thought of that. It's great. So I'm lucky to be in a band with him. So, but yeah, it's got stuff like that. But like I said, our imagery has always been sort of dark and simple and not too, well, the exception of the last album, I guess, was a little bit different. It's just something we had to do. But anyway, it's back to that. It's just darker. It's just a darker. It's black, man. It's just black. It's dark. It's the best way I can describe it.
I went back to like really, really classic merch to me is always like Motorhead, Ramones, Junkyard, Cat House, just icons of, you know them anywhere worldwide, you know a Motorhead shirt or a Ramones shirt. And that's kind of what I wanted to do for us, just kind of have this image, especially like we're going to have one featured shirt that's like the classic Smoking Nun that we had from the first album. And we sold a lot of merch with the Smoking Nun on it. So there's kind of an update on that. And that'll be like a one color shirt. And then as Morty was saying, we've got these bumper stickers that have like a rated R warning that, it says something to the effect of like, audiences under the age of 17 may need historical guidance to listen
Yep.
to this music.
Contains loud, amplified guitars, bombastic drums, earth-shattering bass, and shrieking vocals.
Yeah, there you go. That's it.
Yeah, it's too bad Gary wasn't on because I'd have him play you some stuff.
Album. Don't listen to the album without a plate of church wafers next to them.
Yeah.
You guys
This album made me take communion.
Just
I had to take another shower
right.
before I listened to it. It kind of, yeah, this one kind of tells a story too. It's believe it or not, it's almost kind of a concept album in a way, because we have ideas for videos that me and Chris were kind of going through, like some storyboards for some ideas. I think Scarlet Sins, the title track, I think definitely needs to have a video for that. The problem is time.
Yeah.
Because we live in different states, it's kind of, we have to really budget our time. But that's really the only obstacle we have, is really just being able to do that. Wish we had more of it, but don't we all?
Yeah.
It's just,
Well, do singles, when you guys put your album on Spotify or whatever it is, do you still get that advisory thing of, just curious, remember back in the Tipper Gore days, where you get sticker, but
maybe you want to buy an album, like, hey,
Oh
you're
yeah,
an advisory. I want to buy it.
Mhm.
You kidding me? It's got to be good. Do they even still do that anymore? It's a really great question. I don't even. Do they?
I mean, I've seen it a couple times.
Oh,
Yeah.
Cuss word like fuck or things like that, but
Yeah, I know when I upload stuff
you
to.
stuff that's worse.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's like a.
Tipper gave us the smartest dumb decision ever. let's literally give people a reason to buy these albums.
just buy it even more. Yeah, that backfired, didn't it? Yeah, exactly.
Yes, like going to the counter and be like, "Mom, I need permission to buy this album."
Did you clean your room?
I got in trouble when she heard "Get in the Ring" and all the cursing.
Oh yeah.
She speaks Spanish, but once she heard all that cursing, what the? I'm like, I didn't know.
Yeah, I was just thinking about that. I just like in the 80s, like most of the rock records that they thought that was devil worship music, it really didn't have any really bad language in it if you thought about it, right? Because you didn't, in my opinion, like you didn't realize it until around 1987 when you heard, I don't know, this album by this band called Guns N' Roses. They did Appetite for Destruction, and it's like, wow, they're just like blatantly cussing, and like I just didn't really ever really hear it that much. I guess some Johnny Winter stuff in the 70s, I guess he was a little bit like that, but for the most part, yeah, I was like, okay, that record, I get it. Or all these rap records at the time, F this and F that, but yeah.
To be honest, Morty, I feel like MC5's Kick Out the Jams around that time was really the closest thing you got to just a straight cuss word in your face.
Oh yeah, yeah.
That's a great, it's funny. I play that song with Ronnie, and yeah, it's funny though, because because his son is in the house a lot of times, so he can't say the MFer, so he says like, "Kick out the jams, monster trucker," or something like that. It's hilarious. I almost like can't start the song but yeah, I know, because it's just MC5. They're such a great band. It's so fun to play. Yeah. But even the MC5, even when he did that, was more of a live recording.
Yeah.
But it's so sensational, and it got so much popularity because music was just raw then, and it was unapologetic. That's what's kind of lost, I think, with some certain stuff. I don't know. I guess new music is is good. I don't know what it is anymore. I listen to what I listen to and don't but hey, I'm not, I don't really feel like I have the to judge anybody on what they do and how they want to do it. So actually, Jay, you and I have had this conversation. It doesn't matter what you do. Somebody's always going to figure out some way to mess with you or
Oh, for sure.
down or say that it's better than or whatever. And so,
Do you guys get that? Like, people that just being ignorant for whatever reason, like the keyboard warrior.
Yeah, I think it's just always going to be a thing.
Yeah.
If and especially now, more so now, honestly, than ever, because everybody literally has a keyboard in their pocket.
Right.
Yeah.
But by contrast, kind of changing subjects, but's related. It's like you look at 90s music, and there's a lot of 90s music that I didn't have a problem with. I thought it kind of hit the reset button. Like I said, I like a lot of different music for a lot of different reasons. But help me out here, Chris. What was the documentary that we saw recently? It was called Garage Inc. No, was it something like that?
Underground Inc.
Underground Inc. And it's a really great documentary. I highly recommend it. Anybody's listening. It covered a lot of bands in the 90s and how they signed it. But I think the important lesson that you'll get out of it, well, I don't want to give it away, but I'll just say this. It's very interesting to watch from a business standpoint to see how they did things and the reason why things are so messed up the way that they are now. But, there also is kind of like what you guys are doing. It's, I guess, for lack of a better term, and it's kind of what we're doing. It's more of a grassroots movement. We'll make our own damn show. We'll make our own rules. We'll do it our way. There's no longer a record industry anymore because greed just killed it.
Yeah.
There's no art. There's no more artist development. And so we just did it ourselves. Finally, we just like everything, especially this record, it's about as homegrown. Our last one was too, but I think this one, we got a little better at it. It's going to sound a little better.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Oh yeah. This question. Are you guys playing M3? And I'm like, people. I guess when they send out that email about feedback, ask for Babylon Shakes.
Yeah, gatekeeping. That's my answer to that question, Brian. On behalf of Babylon Shakes.
Yeah, I mean, it was nice when we had Bill Chavis.
Yeah,
with High Vol. He was really good to us, and he was a really good. Bill and Lori, God bless them. I still can't believe they're gone.
Yeah.
But Bill's a pit bull, man. Like if he liked you,
yeah,
he took us under his wing and worked with us, and Brad Lee for that matter too. I mean, Brad's been so good to us, and he's gotten us festival shows, and he's gotten us in front of people. So, I don't, it was nice. It's good to have those around. So that helps us. And I think, if you're a band that writes music and sticks around, and sooner or later, things will opportunity is there. That's what I've come to realize. Mm-hmm. And stick to your guns. And I know it's cliche and you hear it all the time, but it's true. You gotta write what you feel and play and be real about it. Because people see right through it if it's not anyway. So, and we just have fun.
I saw a question earlier. I think it was Brian. I'm looking at comments as they pop up, and I think Brian Rensfelder asked about our first show.
Yep, first ever live show.
Yeah. Actually, this story ties in with Jay because I remember this vividly. We were a little overexcited that night.
Is that what we're calling it now?
I would say, yeah. we had enjoyed the green room prior to
overstimulated,
Yeah, there you go. I remember when I had
Hydrated.
the set list. Like, all right,
hydrated.
and it's like Brad said, you get 45-minute set, 45-minute set. Great. Okay, perfect. You know, I've got everything. I have everything ready to go. We're all rehearsed, ready to go. And I didn't think, wait a minute, this isn't quite 45 minutes. And we bashed through that set like the Ramones, you know, just we just went through. I think there were 7 or 8. That's all.
Are you talking about Rocklanta?
No, this is Cancun, our very first show.
Oh, okay. Our very first show. Okay. Yeah.
I think that was I think it was you guys with Ryder.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I actually just saw James like 3
Was this-
days like last back on Friday. He came into the area. Ryder had a show, so Megan and I popped out to go see him.
Oh, nice.
But real quick, to answer the thing, at least my take on that was what's the baddest band we played with? Meaning, you know, the most intimidating, I guess. I mean, it depends on what your definition of the baddest, but I think I know what they're asking is we played Rocklanta and we had to play last. You know who we had to follow? We had to follow Hardcore Superstar.
Oh, you poor bastard!
And
And we had
they
to watch them from the
literally
green
ended
room
the
on
set
the-
with "You
at
Can't
live
Kill
feed.
My Rock and Roll." If anybody knows Hardcore Superstar is, they're from Sweden, and you know they're a high energy hard rock band. We had to follow them. I don't know how that ended up happening, but we had to follow them, and we wanted just to get on the stage as fast as we could and get going before everybody left. And it turned out pretty good.
Mhm.
But yeah, to play last was a little bit that was memorable in a lot of different I could tell you a lot of stories with that. We don't have enough time, but
Right.
that one sticks out for me, Chris. I don't know, but you know, that was. I remember when that show was over. I remember just walking down the tunnel. This has been one of the biggest shows we played, and it was, you know, you're like a real rock star. Like you're walking out, and it's like, I needed like 20 minutes to have a heart attack, and then I was good after that. But we didn't lay an egg, so.
But when the curtain lifted, I mean, there was still a great number of people like right there on the floor. So, you know, it wasn't all that bad.
Oh, okay. Well, like I said, you know, I like hardcore and thrash music. In fact, you know, and I think Jake can attest to this. I think I'm part of the Headbangers Ball generation where,
Yeah.
you know, when you had Headbangers Ball, you got Poison and Metal Church in the same segment. You got Suicidal Tendencies and Poison, and I like it all. Like I like thrash, maybe not so much as the hardcore. But as a drummer, you know, it's like, of course, I want to play as fast as I can because I was a kid and I had the energy, and I like skateboarding. So I like bands like, you know, DRI and, you know, Suicidal Tendencies, and I like punk bands too, like that California punk bands like Dead Kennedys and like Grief Plague, Agent Orange. Loved all that stuff, and of course, you know, the Ramones is probably one of my favorite bands of all time. Ramones and Kiss, so that's really me in a nutshell. Is Ramones meets Kiss, but
you and I have been at Black Label Society together.
Oh yeah, huge Black Label Society guy. So right, so I think the way we play, especially the first album, I played it more like Razzle kind of did with Hanoi, because I think Hanoi is really a good mix of all the bands I just mentioned. I mean,
throw in the New York Dolls and the Stooges, and
it's.
you know.
But I think the hardcore and the thrash, that raunchiness, that heavy, you know, the hammer. I'm supposed to do that. I have to, you know. So glad somebody noticed. There is a little bit of that. Sure. I mean, Wrath Child America. Think about it. Locally, is Kicks, Wrath Child America, and Child's Play. I loved all those guys. I know all those guys. I stalked them all the time. They was like, ah, guy. You know, I have John Allen's drums from Rat Race era. I play with Ronnie. So, I mean, yeah, And Ratchet was like, still to me this day, and I thought their stuff was really heavy and thrashy yet melodic at the same time. It was good rock. So,
Yeah, I mean it's a good bridge for Shannon with Godsmack.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, absolutely. Great guy too. Just great guy, great player. Just just phenomenal. I wanted to go to that show that they did with Brian and Brad Divins and Shannon. They did I think it was was a benefit. I think Bob Perry was on it. They did
Ladders to leaders.
Ladders. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, that would have been cool. But I was working that night, but figures. But that would have been cool. That'd have been up my alley, but yeah.
Yeah, I got two questions for you, Jeff.
Mhm.
What was the most kick-ass drum solo you've ever heard, and what do you prefer, single bass or double bass drums?
I'd say probably the most impressive solo I've ever seen is Tommy Aldridge. Tommy's double playing. He does this thing where he's doing like advanced triplets on his hands on the floor toms, and he's doing like 16th notes on the kick, and it's phenomenal. It's almost like he does Hot for Teacher, but he does that with all of his soloing. Single and double, I'm a big fan of you play what fits the music. As far as, for example, Phil Rudd is the best at what Phil Rudd does for AC/DC. A double Tommy Aldridge wouldn't fit in AC/DC. He would, well, he would, but you know what I mean. Like, he's 4 on the floor. Phil Rudd is a 4 on the floor meat and potatoes drummer, and that's what's required for AC/DC, because Angus does all the heavy lifting, right? But Tommy Aldridge he just makes every band better that he's in. But he plays to the music, he fits it, right? With Ozzy and with Whitesnake and Black Oak, even Black Oak, Arkansas. I started listening to some of that stuff, and it's more soulful. But the 70s stuff was so much more wide open. There really wasn't a label on it yet. It was just hard rock, or it was just rock and roll, But I mean, there's some great. I mean, I think Nico McBrain is probably one of the best single bass player pedal guys. But yeah.
I definitely, one thing I agree with Brian is definitely this next comment. I love your sound. I remember walking up to Brad saying these guys need to be international. Definitely agree that European audiences need Babylon Shakes, and so does Japan, South America, Antarctica, Canada, and where else rock is alive.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
We were speaking of hardcore superstar. I was talking to those guys afterwards, and they're from Sweden, and they flew in from Atlanta at that show, from Sweden, and they were saying, "Yeah, you guys do great, in Sweden." And so, like, yeah, we'd like to play Sweden. I love to go to Finland. I love to see all those places that Michael Monroe's played and where he's from and that kind of thing. Because, like I said, Chris and I are huge Hanoi Rocks fans too. So, and that sound,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, Europe has always had these great festivals. They've always had a good mixture of bands. You got Lock-In, and then you have the list goes on and on, right? There's so many of them now. Isle of Wight. I'd love to go to the Isle of Wight festival in Europe. I've been over there, but it's been a while. But it's just, you get anybody who's anybody on the same bill, and like fans just go rabid over that stuff. Yeah, U.S. is a little bit behind. Canada too, I guess, to a certain degree, but.
Europe at least twice a year to do like 2 tours. Like we know Ty Kettle does lately, Spread Eagle, Europe in the last few years. We know like King of Valentina, they go there like twice a year to play festivals and all that stuff. And I hear that those festivals, they sell out pretty quick.
Oh yeah. I think music fans in Europe are just absolutely just rabid, and it's never waned over there. I think it's always been, if you're a hard rock fan, you just go for everything. Like I watched that documentary on Wacken not too long ago, and it's like, you know, you had like Vixen playing with Belphegor and, you know, King Diamond and Mastodon. I mean, it's just everything. And I just love the variety of things like that.
It seems like America always tries to catch up. You know, they did with Ozfest, and then that fell through, and then you had like the what was it, Energy Rock Fest? I think they took it, and it's just paying the bands to do all that stuff, and just the sponsorship that's involved. I don't know. It's just weird here in the States. It's like it's just. But now you know you have all these other Rocklahoma type things that are popping up, so. Like, well, you look at M3, you've had this for M3 for years, and now there's one that's in Ocean City that's like a month later, a couple weeks later, something like that. And it's you know, what's on that bill is vast and different. You got anybody from like Shinedown to like Bret Michaels to like
Motley Crue.
just
Oh yeah.
a mixture of, you know, early 80s and 90s bands and modern 2000 bands, and you know, so it's still around. I mean, people are obviously paying to see it, and which is cool. It's just, but it's not the same. And I don't know, for whatever reason, you know, it's just not the same as it is like in Europe, or you know, there's something in the water there. I don't know.
I heard from somebody that they said with Europe, it's a lifestyle, like the whole rock scene.
Yeah, sure. Yeah,
you know,
that's what it is. I'm sure. Yeah. Because we work, you know, all the time, and they don't work like we do, and it's just the whole lifestyle. You know, they don't. You know, they're more laid back, I think.
And look, you know, we love them because some of them will be up at 3, 4 o'clock in the morning watching us on the Metal Summit. So that's something we're like, wow,
Yeah,
That's awesome.
grateful for.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That if they have sleep apnea or cannot sleep, they can just watch us, and they'll help.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I just got a message from Gary. He said he's in the lobby.
Oh, hold on, let me go check. Oh, now I see it. Sorry. Oh, there he is. Hey, how long have you been there for?
There he is.
Long enough to be bored of Jeff talking.
My apologies.
It's Jeff. What can I say?
He's sipping on Grandpa's medicine there.
Well, it's yours. I'm trying to kill him.
Well, I bought them for you.
Well, the whole time I'm thinking, hey, killing your stuff.
Nah, that's the studios, man. It's the studios.
Yeah,
Charges to the Underhills bill, man. It's a write off.
you know, it's all good.
Yeah. So Gary, earlier in the conversation, there was some potential amusing talk behind Babylon Shakes Live, where you might be throwing down on guitar again more often.
Maybe it's still in the woodworks.
Perhaps. Right on.
Yeah, it's a surprise.
Cool. We love
Yeah.
surprises.
Yeah, no, it's a good deal. You got a good deal going, I think.
No, that's awesome, man.
Yeah, it's definitely something I want to lean towards, but you know, it's kind of one of those things. It is what it is.
Mhm.
I mean, I love both, so.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's going to be a fun show.
Absolutely, for sure. When it comes to 2025, especially with the beginning of it right now, and all of the songs you guys have been working on and crafting the album, you know, aiming for spring, like you guys had talked about. How are you looking to like shape up 2025 for the like basically the next like half of it, 2/3 of it? Like, are you really trying to road dog it to get these new songs just out as to, you know, to as many people as possible? You know, of course there's home life, there's jobs and all that kind of stuff that of course plays into it as well. But what can you tell us about the current plans for 2025 and people getting to see you guys?
We definitely have one major show coming up and that's Thursday, May the 1st at Fishhead, which is the pre-gathering. And that's been announced. That's going to be kind of like the first big step. And I think once we get there and everything kind of coalesces, with the live band, we really want to and we'll get the album out too. We want to take like another, I don't know, we could get behind the album for a year, but we definitely want to get back out there. Definitely, targeting the Baltimore, Philly, kind of the mid-Atlantic area that we love so much and we do so well in, and just get some good shows going with some great other artists. We're good friends with like Monte Carlo. I'd love to play with those guys. Our great friend Chris Hernico in the Circus Hearts, Cream Circus. There's a lot of good regional bands that I think we would do really well with. And yeah. So
Streetlight Circus, you guys play off of them really well.
Yeah, Streetlight, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. We're just kind of in studio mode now. We haven't really thought that far ahead yet, but I think that's probably what the plan is going to be, because once we have the album out, we're definitely going to hang our hat, as it were, on that and just use that to promote and get shows with, and do our networking like we normally do. Everything's grassroots now, so again, like you mentioned, it's just getting the time and getting everybody's schedule and what we're going to do. But yeah, I mean, we're just going to wing it. We're not going to, I haven't really thought that far ahead, man. We're just concentrating on making a really good record. We just want this to be the best thing we've ever done. And then everybody says that, but it's true. I mean, you swing for the fences all the time. What's the point if you don't, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I
and like I said, Gary's done a really good job with that. And we're going to take our time. Like I said, we'd like to get the album done as soon as we can. Obviously, we all want to get it done.
Yeah.
But we want to get it done right.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, we definitely, on this album, we swung really hard. I think there's a lot of catchy tunes, a lot of hooks.
Mm-hmm.
As far as musically speaking, I think this is probably the best album. And they're like a lot of bands, they put out their first album and it's like, everybody looks at that as their best and how you're going to, bat up to it. But I feel this album has a lot more darker side of us, but
yeah,
it's sleaze, but it's kind of a darker side, like a story themed album kind of thing. Kind of like Queensryche. I keep saying that, but it's like there's a lot of the songs that kind of reminisce of this one girl,
Yeah.
And it really rings true, and I like almost every one of these songs. I should say that, right? I really like how the album's coming along. It's we've got another guy, but I'm not going to say his name. But he's been a really big help as far as mixing and mastering and stuff like that. Because like Jeff said, we're doing everything in house. So, I mean, I know a lot of bands probably don't do that, but if you got the means, why not?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No, absolutely. I mean, we talked a lot about, the talk of like, the dark themes, heavier concepts and stuff like that. So, that it kind of has, that it has a little bit of like your guys's like, Operation Mindcrime like to it.
Right. So
we should reach out to Pamela Moore for your guys' music.
Somebody's asking a question as far as like writing process goes. Most of the songs are pretty much written and arranged when they come to us. Chris is pretty much the brainchild of Babylon Shakes. What he does is he brings the songs to us. Gary and I just do a little tweak here and there. But like I said, Gary does. He's the engineer. He does everything. Tunes the drums. He does everything. Does the mics. He drives the ship. He's the captain. So that usually with a band, it's like, you know, that saying, like there's stats sometimes that don't always show up on the sheet, on the stat sheet or whatever. It's little things that are done that it takes a village. It takes a village, but the creative process is usually him, and then I'm given the ability to write my own drum parts, and Gary writes his own bass lines and guitar parts. Sometimes Chris writes some of the bass parts too. We all listen to each other and what's going to be the best for. We play for the song. Period. We play for the song. We have no egos. We all have it, or none of us have it.
Right.
That's the bottom line.
Like Gary, how do you look at like the crafting of a record for somebody like yourself that is wearing so many hats outside of just being a member of the band? You know, I mean, a member of a band that's putting together a record, you know, you got enough hats as is when it comes to like, you know, your parts, your writing, your style, you know, your part in the orchestra. But now you've got all these other like technical skills that you're really applying to the crafting of the record. Like, how do you separate like, you know, Gary, the band member, the musician from, you know, the guy that's like the sound guy and the, you know, the producer?
It's not easy, but it's kind of overwhelming because, I mean, for the last couple of weeks, I've just been mixing, and I try not to bother everybody, but I do sometimes. But yeah, I don't know. It's kind of a difficult question that you just asked, but
I get you.
no, it's just you just think differently. You know, you think for the album, you think for, oh, what would sound good here, or what would sound good here, and you know, just coming up with my own parts at my own time, and then I share it with the guys and like, hey, do you like this solo, or is it too much? Is it, and like I said, I'll record it. Anything can be erased, you know, but it's challenging, but you know, it's like I work a full-time job, and then I come home and I work until 9 or 10 at night, pretty much every night except for tonight. But but yeah, it's kind of like a full-time job in itself, and I try not to make it all Gary.
Sure.
You know, but it's fun, and it's kind of a pain in the butt at the same time.
I definitely get you with that. And there's a writing and recording question that Angel and I love to talk to artists about, you know, especially when it comes to like albums and stuff like that, is like, when do you guys know when a song is done? Do you get to a point where it's like, we just can't keep fucking with this thing anymore? Or it's like, no, we can do a little better, or this isn't crisp enough? But how do you guys collectively find when a song has completed itself?
That's the easy question.
Yeah.
When somebody develops a black eye?
No, when I say it is. I'm just kidding. I'm joking.
So it is a black eye.
That usually happens when, at least to me, that's when we all get in a room and it's a basic idea. And then like sometimes it's just like, well, I've got this riff, and then we try to build on that riff, or I've got half a melody, or I got a chorus or something. Like I said, our stuff isn't, we haven't really run into that too much. We kind of do things a little bit different. It's kind of all or nothing.
Mm-hmm.
So basically is the song will be pretty much written and arranged in a scratch track, and then I'll just listen to it, and we'll either rehearse it that way, and then we'll go back and listen to it or record it. Lately, it's just been recording. And I think then we just kind of go, a little too much this or too much that. But I've run into that in other bands, but yeah, not this one, not so far. But I think that's a test to the fact that we've all been doing this for so long.
For sure. Do you guys find that you guys have like a preferred song length? You know, especially a band like your guys' self, where there's a lot of storytelling involved. Do you guys find that there's a preference to song length, so you don't end up, not that that's necessarily a bad thing, but you don't end up with like your own, personal 11-minute black number one.
Oh, right. I think for me, I like 3.5 minutes. That to me is like, that's a perfect, like nice round, 2 verses, 3 choruses, guitar solo stuck in the middle there. You're in and out. You can get something, you can get really catchy, really riffy, get it all in 3.5 minutes, bam.
And there's a few of our songs that actually go over 4 minutes, and they ended up kind of like, well, kind of circling back. That's probably the only exception, I would say, where it's like, this isn't happening. It's just too long. So now I'm thinking about it. Yeah, there was one song where the tempo was too fast, but we had to just change the speed of it. Or again, let's fade the song out because we couldn't really find a way to land it at that time, or it was just too long and we wanted. But yeah, generally, about 3:45. Really don't want to go over that because we think in terms of we want to be able to fit on an album and I'm talking a record, right? Because it's usually about 45 minutes. Yeah, that's usually 5 songs on each side. It's like me, I'm a CD guy. I always want 12 songs on a record. I always want more. I'm always like with us. I always want 2 more. Come on, 2 more. We can do it. But
yeah. Well, that's the other thing too. When you're not, when you don't craft Babylon Shake songs like the Ramones, where you can play 35 songs in 19 minutes.
Well, Johnny was always like, it's funny. He's just like, yeah, why get bored? 45, like for a half hour. People get bored. They want to, I don't know, they want us to see a band and then want to go see a movie or something. I don't know. He's just funny. He's in New York, Yeah, I think what happened is they had such a catalog and they just kept going that he's like, oh crap, now I got to play all these songs everybody wants to play. So we've got to play them even faster so we can hurry up and get them done. That's why they're like warp speed,
My beer's waiting for me. My beer's getting warm.
Yeah. I always think about Steven Tyler too when he said, "Don't bore us, get to the chorus."
Yeah. There you go. Yeah.
Let the hook shine. Just bring it out. Get it out there quick.
Absolutely. Right back up to you, Angel.
When it comes to putting together the set list, who does that?
I primarily do. I'll just get like an idea. I'll just email the guys or just put it in a group chat. And like this is the latest one. I just picked, I think 7 new and 4 old. And I'll just throw it to you because I'm always thinking about like, okay, when I'm singing this, is this can I catch a breath here and here and the right order? So this is going to be kind of different for us. This will be a challenge, but yeah, I'll get their input too. And, Jeff will say like, well, wait, don't you want to talk here? Do you need a break? Or, we kind of hash it out there.
Yeah. Out of the 11 songs, I got the set list right here, 11 songs that we're doing. Yeah. There's, mostly new songs, but there's like 4 songs we do off the first record. We're not doing anything off the second record because it doesn't fit what we're doing now. So it's a lot of new stuff. There's some songs, honestly, I think if we don't play, we're gonna be in a lot of trouble. So, the songs we pick, the songs we definitely want to keep in the set, I think is kind of the same formula as most bands do. If you've done a video for it, people have seen that one. They're going to go to YouTube, especially if they like you. Hopefully they will. They're going to go to YouTube and they're going to see that. So they're going to know that song because they're going to listen to it the most.
True.
So you kind of have to do that. I mean, look at most bands that do it now that have been around for a long time. Those songs are always in their set, Yeah. So, but that comes with the territory. Like, it depends. If you're a new band, you play your whole album. But if you've been in a band, if you got 4 or more albums out, then you sort of have that problem. It's like, okay, what songs do we do? But we like our sets to have flow to it, so
Yeah.
it's really designed that way. I like flow. It needs to have right into the next song, take a break when we need to, get back out there. So
Slam it the whole time.
Shad looks like Angel. Looks like Shad's got that old school, 80s style touring question for the guys.
mm,
It's the most chicks in the band.
who gets the most chicks in the band?
Yeah.
Ooh. Well,
It's your,
Single one.
you're the only single one.
Yeah,
I'm the only
Jeff's
not
the
I'm,
only-
I'm the only not married guy, so I would say, yeah, I can think of a few nights where it's like, whoa, got a little friendly around here. Yeah, I guess that would fall under me because I'm not married. I do have a girlfriend now though, and I'm happily girlfriended. So
But back in the day,
back in the day, you certainly did. I think you fared better than I did. I was just too weird. You're the
Yeah.
good looking one, Gary. Yeah.
it was kind of weird.
Gary and I played Cage for many, many years. We did all the touring and we did all that stuff. So those albums are out on YouTube and everywhere in case you're interested. But that kind of goes how we know each other. Me and Gary have known each other for 30 years, man. I know when you say it like that, it's like, gosh, how old are you again? Just don't ask.
It's quite the Rolodex.
Yeah.
Pretty much. It's a curse. It's also a curse, but
Here we are. We're still rocking and rolling.
here we
Still
are.
rocking and rolling, no, for sure. Hey, but every now and then, a good rock show births a marriage. So
Yeah.
so that's definitely a good thing for sure when it comes to that.
I think this is a
Oh gosh.
Oh, there you go.
PRS, please. No, never. Don't. You know what? They can take those guitars and they can shoot them right into space. Like
Only Gibson here. Les Paul.
Yeah.
Telly's for me.
Yeah.
I'm sure. I mean, I guess they sound okay, but they're ugly. I don't like them. I don't know. Guitar. Yeah. I mean, come on, guys. I mean, there's nothing better than a sexy guitar. I mean, that ain't sexy. That's like, it's like you can say anything you want about a Prius, but that just ain't sexy. It might get the job done, but nah.
I don't know. I've never personally found too much of a problem in the look of PRS guitars. The funny thing is, I feel like I've outgrown a little bit of my old school like fascination when it came to BC Riches, which I think actually came about more because like along with being like a big like glam guy, and Bobby Dahl was known for having like a bright green like BC Rich, but I'm a horror guy and I'm a goth rock and horror punk guy. And so like BC Rich has also always kind of appealed to me because they felt very Jerry and Doyle-ish, So like I had a love relationship with BC Rich for a little while. But then when I started like playing my own stuff, there's certain things on certain guitars I like and don't like stylistically. Like the funny thing is like I like Fender bodies. I think they're solid, they look good, they're sharp, but I've always despised the headstock of Fenders. I've never liked Stratocasters in particular. I've always hated the little, like, in my opinion, the little ball sack at the top of the
Right.
Oh,
The
right.
rounded
I,
headstock.
I hate it so much.
No.
But like again, they're time tested and they sound great like all the time. Like Fenders and
Les Pauls, yeah.
and Les Pauls.
Gibsons
They're
for
like
that matter, but
Gibsons. Yeah, they're the two that are just.
Yeah.
They're always going to sound good. They're always going to be stylistic. Like it's funny. Like Telecasters for me. Like I'm a bass guy, preferably. Like I've never loved Telecasters as guitars as like a body. But I love them as a bass for some reason. Like when they're set as a guitar, I'm like, look at that fucking piece of toast with like a neck
Yeah.
out of it. But like for some reason, and my buddy James Keane from the Raskins, who was also in Pretty Boy Floyd,
Yeah.
Oh
he
yeah, yeah.
ha-
Yeah. I know.
he's got a few of those, like, you know, telly like bodies as like
Yeah.
his bases and stuff like that. And I always thought that those had like a really sharp look to them. But again, like you can use, you know, like Gary said he's a telly guy. You know, you can see that on a guy like John
Big time.
Five. I mean, they're
Yeah.
amazing sounding. Like they sound great.
Yeah. Yeah, they do.
They're just they're on point like all the time. It's just it's just one of those like different strokes for different folks, like stylistic kind of stuff.
Ball sack
Well,
on your neck
it's-
sounds like a new song. There you go. Yeah.
As far as basses go, there's nothing more sexier than a Spectre. So
Yeah, those Spectres are nice. Those hollow flashes in particular.
mm.
Alright,
I've
gotta plug that partnership, baby.
I've had my first Spectre since '87.
Nice.
It's like it's the beast, man. It sounds so freaking good.
Mhm.
And it's an '87, so
Wow.
it's the only thing in life I've actually kept, I guess.
Nice.
But,
Yeah, when I was doing some guitar teching for a band a few years back, their bass player was he was a Spectre guy too, so I got to play you know, noodle around a little bit with some of his Spectres and stuff like that, and they are really cool. One of my favorite Spectres that I've seen is Marty O'Brien from Lita Ford, but now with Daughtry. He's got that, you know, that same type of like I guess, you know, that Epiphone gives the Thunderbird body, but it's like it's studded out like the pyramid studs of like a studded belt, like all over the front of the.
Oh,
of the
nice.
bass.
Yeah.
I
I'm
was
talking about like the Rex Brown.
I think so. Yeah, it's like similar to that, but yeah, it's a Thunderbird body
Yeah.
with
Right.
like
Yeah,
belts.
just a little smaller than a Thunderbird. The body's a little smaller. I got
Yeah.
one right here.
Yeah, but it's got a little bit of that shape to it.
Yeah.
I always thought, you know, BC Rich, as far as like guitar is concerned, is you know, I if I were one, I'd want to get a gunslinger just because, you know, Tracy Guns had a gunslinger. But I'm more of a classic X guy. But for as far as Strat bodies go, you know, I do like the what is it, the ebony fretboards, like what. Not the rosewood, but the ebony, like Eddie Van Halen used, where it looks all worn in. You know, I like that look.
Yeah.
But
When it comes to BC Riches, I've always been a big Mockingbird fan.
oh yeah,
I
Mockingbirds.
really like those. In fact,
Yeah.
there's I know it's on a wait list because, you know, they're super busy, but my buddy John Malfi from the band Veer, he's got his company Free State Guitars. I think it's Free State or Freeland. Man, I'm the worst. Anyway, he's got his amazing company. I believe it's Free State, and you know, they do a lot of like custom stuff. And it's funny too. My favorite bass bodies that I'm working on getting something kind of custom made is the Gibson SG body, because I love that devil horn shape of the body for a bass, and then also like a Mockingbird version, because I don't tend to like too much extra extensions when it comes off the bodies of these things, but I've always really liked that, you know. So I always thought those were really cool. But yeah, when it comes to BC Rich, I was always a Mockingbird fan myself.
That's funny, and it's just it's always interesting how, as fans, we're so passionate about our music and the instruments that we use for it, and it's like it's funny. We all kind of have in our band, you know, Babylon. It definitely have a sound and a look and a specific guitars that we in gear that they're very passionate about, that I happen to agree with. So that just makes it that much more fun. We're so much more on the same page that way. It's little things like that, I think, that do it sounds really superficial and it shouldn't matter, but you know, like your guitar's color is dumb. You suck. I hate that riff now. You know, it's not, you know, but yeah. So
Well, it is funny. Like with Dean, for example, I think personally, I think the Cadillac Dean guitar is one of the ugliest things ever designed.
hey, DK's on.
Oh, what's up, dude?
You know, DK, it's funny. When I think of DK now, I think of, you know, Rock Lana, because Gary had come up and he goes, I was talking to DK because he saw us. We were drinking Jameson because that's kind of like we drink a lot of different stuff, but Jameson happened to be the drink of choice there, the drink of the year, as it were. And he's like, you really want to drink that? He goes to Europe a lot and stuff like that because, you know, those boys, Kicking Valentina, thank you. I had to kick that out. You know, they're over in Europe a lot because I think their labels in Germany or something like that. They play out the festivals out there. Anyway, he was going, yeah, we go out there. I think he was telling Gary this. He probably did to tell you, but he's like, you got to chase it with pickle juice. And I'm going, oh boy, because like Gary loves pickles, man. So it's weird. Like you do the pickle juice and then, or no, you do the shot and then you chase it with the
pickleback.
Pickleback, yeah.
So yeah, we started doing
Not
that.
not to be considered Nickelback. Oh well, that was the bad joke, I guess.
This is how you remind me.
Dude, I was going to say the exact same thing, man.
Yeah.
All right, well, you know,
It was there.
well, yeah, I mean, you know, hopefully now all the angry metal fans won't burn it to the ground tonight.
Oh well.
Which was so interesting because usually that's something like maybe like Chris would say or Heber would say. Jimmy too, I guess. I don't know. I don't really talk to Jimmy too much, but or DK. It's like Jimmy and DK. I don't, you know. I always run into Chris. You know, he's always like putting his arm around me and, you know, just being funny, just being a good dude. Every now and then we chat. But yeah, so
It's making memories, man. I mean, look at this photograph. I mean,
How the fuck do we?
yeah, I will say, like people say, like how things aren't as good as they used to be, but I think they've gotten better in a lot of ways. The bands, I think, have gotten better because we're tight. Like I said, we're a tight group. So yeah, there he goes. Yeah, the pickleback shot. There he goes. Thanks, DK. I guess it's like you know, to me, I think me and Jimmy were saying, and Chris were saying that, you know, it's like you know when you go like at the beach and you're like on a raft and it flips over and you get, you know, underneath the undertow or whatever, and it's like you get some of that salt water, you know, that weird taste. You know, that's what it's like to me. Does that make sense? I don't know. Circling back to that, but you know, the pickleback shot's kind of like that. I don't know. It just reminds me of like that. It's that. Kids could try it. You know,
ocean water.
Don't drink and drive, kids.
no. No, always behave when it comes to that, for sure. Angel, let's kick it back up to you, my friend, but also Metal Summoners, Babylon Shakes fans. It's also going to be last call for alcohol. It is going to be final questions and comments for the guys. They've been rocking out with us all night. We're having a great time, and we're going to kick it with them for a little bit longer. But we also do want to be very respectful of their time, their evening, and their loved ones. So it is last call for alcohol. Final questions and comments. Make sure you get them in there. We'll absolutely clear the board like always. So now's your time to get them in there. Right up to you, Angel.
How the band gets its name?
Oh, I came up with that. I'm a huge Hanoi Rocks fan and always loved like Oriental Beat, Bangkok Shocks. So it just kind of like, I don't know. I had Babylon in mind because just, you know, the city of sin, and it just kind of, it just came to me one day. It's like Babylon Shakes, like, what would be so dirty and vile that it would make the city of sin quake in its boots? Babylon Shakes, you know. It just worked, and I immediately like crafted the Smoking Nun logo, and yeah, it just came straight from that.
Yeah, it's, you know, it's not just a New York Doll song. But it's like the short answer. I used to tell people, I said, pull the David Lee Roth thing. I said, look, if Babylon shakes, or no, if Hanoi rocks, then Babylon shakes.
Mhm.
Back
And
east.
Teresa, she wants to know, when are you coming back to the East? I'd love to work with you again, Rebel Heart Entertainment.
Oh, we're based Virginia, Maryland. So yeah, we're here. We'd love to work with Teresa again. Absolutely. I think Teresa put us with KV.
Yeah. And Teresa, have us host.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We lost. Oh, by the way, Angel, did you hear that we lost Tourist Inn in York, PA?
What?
They sold. Yeah, they sold it. The original owner. Yeah, she or not original.
Retired.
But, yeah, she retired. So I don't know what's going to happen to that place next. But there's places around there though, like Phantom Power. There's another place around there. Anyway, there's another one. I can't remember the name of it, but yeah, I'm not sure what's going on, what they're going to do. We played there. Yeah, that was the last time we played with KV actually.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's the last time we saw those guys. Yeah, they played.
That was Tourist Inn. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, because I think that was the little East Coast swing where you guys did
right.
Bar 13 in Wilmington,
Yeah.
Tourist Inn in PA, and I think there was a Baltimore show also, like Cancun Canteen or something. It was like a 2 or 3 or a 3 or 4 show swing that you guys did like in 4 consecutive states, kind of a thing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Those Jack and Cokes were $4.50 at Tourist Inn, man. I remember the first time I went to Tourist Inn, and Megan and I went, and it was actually for the show that we were hosting, that Angel and I were hosting at Tourist Inn with Silver Tongue. And, I got my drink, her drink, and like this cheeseburger. And I was like, cool, what do I owe? They're like $12.50. I'm like, wait, what now? They were like, yeah, like 12, whatever. I was like, how much are things? Like, well, your Jack and Coke was $4.50, your burger was like $7, and your Malibu was like, was like $6 or whatever. I'm like, oh my God, I'm gonna die in this venue someday. You're gonna be able to give me $4 Jack and Cokes. I was like, I'm gonna go nuts.
I'm gonna kick it right back up to you, Jay, for the last round.
Yeah, no worries, absolutely. So when we've talked about the album, upcoming shows, and the plans for 2025. I just kind of want to steer it back to Babylon Shakes as a whole. When you look at again, just taking a little bit of time like you did, different creative outlets, different opportunities. How does it look now with the band, like moving forward? Again, you guys already have so much history, so much camaraderie, that riding the bike kind of feel to it. But when you look at it, from here and then the current plans for moving forward, how do you look at Babylon Shakes currently versus, when you did your first album?
It's funny because we're all, we're older, we're a little more settled, a little more sedate at times, but it's funny because there's still, when we get together, the fire and the inspiration, the energy's still there. We feed off each other so well. We're really true brothers in every sense of the word. We love spending time together and creating. But I think just this album for us is like another benchmark. It's almost like Gary said, it feels like a first album in a way, but it's kind of like another reinterpretation of the band, like another rebirth. So there's a lot of I think there's a lot of new energy with all of us, and just the feeling in the band all together that we can just do anything we want to, and we're just kind of being a little slower, a little more cautious, getting everything just right for the album, and putting the live band back together, which is the next big piece for us. But yeah, just a lot ahead.
No, for sure. And just out of like curiosity, when you look at kind of a piggyback off of that question, when you look at Babylon Shakes there versus Babylon Shakes now, there was also, a short tenure of the band where you guys didn't go by the name Babylon Shakes. When you kind of look back at that time, back then, do you ever feel like you wish you would just rode the name Babylon Shakes all the way through to the present? Or were you cool with that, musical change that brought about something that didn't feel as Babylon as that music would have portrayed? I had that question smoother in my head than it probably
No, I know. I can answer that. I mean, I know. We all probably have different answers. For me, just quickly, no. Short answer, no. And because that music, there was a lot of music that we wrote. Like I said earlier in the show, we are influenced by a lot of different music, and we love all that different music. We never had an industry. We never had any kind of management to say, no, you have to stick to this music format. It's wide open to us. So there was music that we made that didn't fit really under the Babylon shell, sort of under that cubby hole or whatever little category, if you will. It was different kind of music. It was more bar acoustic music. It was just more folky than it was sleazy. It just didn't deserve to have the same name. It needed to be called something else. It was a different attitude. It was just a different hat.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would totally agree with that. Just a whole different set of creativity and inspiration, and we didn't want to get confusion with Babylon, and we thought this is so different. It kind of needs its own space, so let's just put that in this bucket for a little while, and of course we eventually kind of thickened the sound back up again and came back a little bit heavier, but
Yeah, we're definitely better people. It's a better process. We're just better at it, or we're closer. We know each other longer. It's better, but man, right where it needs to be, that just hair on fire. Oh man, it's still there.
Yeah.
And this record is. I honestly didn't know if we were ever really going to go back to. I wouldn't say going back, but it's just recapturing sort of the spirit of what the first record was. This one, if this isn't that, then I don't know what is. I mean, it's
For
a
sure.
1-2 punch. This really probably should have been our second record, but it happened the way it happened, and I'm proud of everything we've done because we all enjoy the process.
Absolutely. Yeah, Gary, and how about yourself, man? How did you look back at that time?
I look at it as creativity. I mean, sometimes you know how sometimes you can be depressed, sometimes you could be extremely happy. Music is a feeling. It wasn't a feeling of Babylon, so again, it didn't deserve that name. But I loved everything we did. Did it go over? I mean, I really don't care. And that's probably a hateful thing to say, but I love everything we created. And you just didn't deserve the Babylon name,
Sure.
but again, it's just music is creativity. It's what you spit out, it's what you feel. And everybody goes through changes, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
It was a change, and I mean, I still have the albums on my computer right behind me, and I listen to them frequently. It's just like going in and listening to a Motown record, I mean, does a rock and roll guy or goth guy go listen to Motown? Yeah. There's probably a lot of people that listen to different genres of music. Um, I'm just lucky that we were able to actually create something like that.
Yeah.
Creatively speaking, but I mean, everything comes full circle. It's like the '80s coming back, and then now they're gone again. But it all has to do with creativity. I
Yeah.
mean, that's just as simple as that. and it wasn't a Babylon creativity moment.
Mm.
So I mean, we should have came up with a better name, like Drifter's Lullaby or something. Maybe that's the downfall of the whole thing, I think. But hey, you know what? We made music, and I had a lot of fun with it. We had
Yeah.
a lot of fun, cool shows, man. I mean,
Mm.
you know, we had a lot of cool times together doing that whole situation. So I don't regret it at all.
Oh, sure. Oh no, absolutely. Yeah, there's definitely nothing to regret in that record or in that time for sure. It's just I always find that to be kind of like, kind of interesting, where when you look back at, bands, especially a band like yourself, which is still the original lineup, but you still had that moment, of being under a different hat, like you said, where, people, especially in our scene, regularly talk about Karabi's Motley Crue album. And I know that, obviously,
Great
John's
record.
in the band, absolutely. John's in the band, not Vince. So it's not that same OG lineup thing. But I've always loved that album so much because I was a Scream fan. And so I was excited. I thought it was an interesting choice. Nothing personally against John, but I just thought it was vocally, stylistically, it was so different. I always used to say that if Motley wanted to stay like sounding like they always did, but needed something without Vince, I always personally thought that somebody like Lizzie Borden would have really fit the bill well for Motley to continue with that sound because he's that same kind of shrill singer versus somebody like John, who's way much more like a Joe Listay from Bang Tango in that bluesy,
deeper, more raspier,
type of thing. But I always said, of course, coming off the heels of Motley Crue, the guys were never gonna be in a band called Karabi or whatever. That was never gonna happen. But I still always there's always a little bit of me that's like, fuck, I really wish that band had just been called something else for one album. And then if they decided they wanted to go back to the Motley name and ride through, then that's cool. But I feel like that album really could have grown legs if it just wasn't called Motley Crue. Because I just think to the common populace fan, it was too much of a culture shock because the vocals are so different. So
that's true.
But I definitely think it's something like that for sure. But before we let you guys on when your evening, please remind the Babylon Shakes fans, the new fans, as well as the Metal Summoners, where can Babylon Shakes be found?
Oh, probably the easiest place and most updated is definitely the facebook.com/Babylon Shakes. We're on TikTok now, so find us there at Babylon Shakes. Instagram. I think those are the three busiest channels that we have. We got a Bandcamp too, so look for us on Bandcamp as well.
Absolutely, for sure. Do you think Christian rock will be the only music played in hell? Oh, Chuck, you're hilarious, dude. That's funny. It's like all the satanic bands that end up in hell, but then that's all they get to listen to is gospel music. I
thought it was smooth jazz.
Smooth jazz. Like, could you picture Kerry King just in the afterlife and all he's allowed to listen to is gospel or something like that?
Show
tunes. Like the only CD, he has a whole wall of CDs, but every single one of them is the Grease soundtrack. Something like that. Just absolutely fantastic. But Gary, Chris, Morty, we really appreciate you guys. We appreciate you guys.
Thank you.
Reaching out to the show and being down for the cause and thinking of me and Angel to talk about all the up and coming stuff with Babylon Shakes. And you guys are family or our brothers, and we wish nothing but the best. And anything that myself or Angel can do for you, don't be shy to reach out and ask. We got you.
Yep.
Absolutely. Thanks so much for having us.
No,
Thanks,
always,
man.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Angel,
Always a
man. Thanks,
pleasure,
Jay. Thanks for all the great questions and insight, man. I really appreciate it. You guys.
Oh, no, absolutely. No, we appreciate you too. And that's always Angel and I's biggest thing is that, whenever you guys are on the show and anybody's on the show is that, you had a good time, you felt respected, you enjoyed the questions, and that you felt that this was beneficial in any way to the continued success of your band.
100%. Absolutely. But I mean, not to badmouth any of these other podcasts because we appreciate any press we can get. But some of them, whoa, are we on the right show?
Like we have a knack for kind of going off the rails a little bit, but we also have that same knack for getting back on track.
Yeah.
So the crazy train. Yes, we do.
That we are, man. Absolutely, for sure. Metal Summoners, Babylon Shakes fans, we appreciate you guys so much as well. We love you guys. Thank you for tuning in. Great interactions. Thanks for showing so much love to the guys. Make sure that you're following them on their socials that they just told you guys about for everything that's going on Babylon Shakes. Make sure that you're following Angel at Angel Alamo 78 on Instagram. He can also be found on Facebook. You can find me on Instagram at Salem.vampire, and you can also find me on Facebook as well. Also, our beloved Psycho Steve at The Real Psycho Steve on Instagram. Also, his website, psychostevepresents.com. And as always, make sure that you guys are following the Metal Summit on Facebook and YouTube, because that's where you're watching Babylon Shakes right now. That's where the interviews go down. But also make sure that you guys are following us on Instagram as well, because that's where the guest announcements come out first and foremost. So any guests that you guys want to see or you're curious about who we've got coming on next, Instagram's an important page for you guys to follow, because that's where you guys are going to see it first. But we appreciate you guys so much. We're getting final confirmations for next week, and the guest announcement will be out over the weekend. On behalf of Babylon Shakes, we appreciate them so much for their time. And on behalf of Angel and myself, we love you guys. We appreciate you guys. Have a great rest of your week. Horns up. Have a great one. We'll see you guys in a week. As always, you guys have been watching the Metal Summit.